Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live stream on Yellow Belly Tabletop. It's Christmas week. It's all quiet in the chat, so I imagine everybody's got better things to do than be here to watch us two idiots talk crap. So if you're catching up with us later at some time over Christmas, then have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from me and David. Are you got a drink tonight, David? Are you beveraging?
I've got two drinks on the go. They're technically the same drink.
Two technically the same. Okay.
Some neat Red Lobster spiced rum.
Ooh.
And then some mixed with some Coke.
Oh, okay. And so are you? Is that because you've got the neat just to top up your mixer? Is that what it is?
Yes, but also to try it neat.
That's the way to go, mate. Neat spirits. Neat spirits is the way to go. Well, Ross bought a keg of...
Kegs?
Yeah, she bought a keg of St. Peter's Brewery Plum Porter. So I've got a glass of that on the go. And it's very, very nice. Very palatable. Very fruity. It's a very fine drink. So, cheers, mate.
So, what are we up to tonight?
So, for everybody who's not joined us before, the format of tonight's show is going to be the same as usual. So first thing David and I are going to do is have a quick chat about what we're going to be hobbying on while we sit around here for a couple of hours and talk nonsense. Then we'll have a quick chat about what we got up to on Monday night at our local gaming club. Hello, Cheese Me.
Cheese Me's here.
Yeah, Limburger. And he's straight in with the Assassin's Creed.
Oh, boys and girls at home, I have news for you. What is in the Chinese container tonight?
But are you actually working on them, or is that just a tease?
Yes, I think I'm about to.
Oh my God! You heard it here first, folks. We're actually doing Assassin's Creed. Then after we finish,
festive and Christmassy.
And you're sick of being nagged.
No, not quite yet. Because I do also have this to go at if I want to instead.
Oh, sweet.
Piss people at home off.
Oh dear. So yes, then we'll have a little bit of a chat, talk about some new stuff that's popped up, and then about 9 o'clock we'll start our main topic. And David and I thought tonight we would tackle the subject of modding games in whatever fashion. Because it's something that's really ever present in tabletop gaming of all sorts. So we thought we'd have a little bit of a pick at the topic, share our thoughts, bounce things backwards and forwards, interact with you guys if you've got thoughts, because I'm sure you have. So do you want to go first, mate? So as you've completely shocked everyone by dragging out the Assassins.
Not just yet. I'm just busy doing something a minute.
Well, let me go first then, because I'll get to show off. I got an early Christmas present because I recently uploaded a new project to the OnTableTop project system. And I was doing the rum, cola, and a bit of lemon. Nice. Is that what you're drinking, Limburg, or is that a recommendation for David to add a bit of lemon to his cola and rum? So yeah, I was doing some photography work to get this project up on OTT, and my wife saw what I was doing and said, here, look, have a present, because she's rubbish like that. To be honest, if it was up to my wife, we'd probably opened all our presents already, because she's just got absolutely no patience whatsoever, bless her. Oh my God, she's terrible. But, here we go.
Did you get a treat?
No. I got one of these cool USB rotating turntable things, specifically for the live stream, so that when I'm wanting to show people what I'm working on or whatever, I can stick it on the turntable in the light box and it gives it a nice 360. So,
get you all swish and swanky.
I'm sort of in between big projects at the moment. We've managed to get the Forge Fathers out of the way. They photographed and finished. My next one, I think, having discussed it with David, and I will want your advice later, mate, on skin tone, really. My next one is going to be, I'm going to tackle my Carnivale Strigoi. So it'll be Dracula and his wives. And
yeah.
so in this in-betweeny state, because I've got a recipe to bang it out quickly, I'm going to do the second one of these Star Spawn, I think they are, from the Mansions of Madness board game, because I want to get this painted and I want to get it played. So I've got to start. It's a nice little palette cleanser just to drop in, pow, job done. So that's what I'm going to be working on tonight, mate.
Do you want to go down to my camera?
I can indeed. So let me go to here and let's go back to the main scene first so that people don't watch loads of sort of crappy transitions. Your table is now live, sir. So this is one of your famous Chinese containers of joy, is it?
Yeah, my Chinese containers of joy.
Cheers, everybody. You got a drink tonight, Limburger?
There's also a Jace in here. Don't know why Jace is in here, but hey.
Well, he's got a hood on. You can paint him up as an Assassin's Creed character. That'd be fine.
So yeah, we're gonna have a go, have a rummage, see what we're gonna start, and see what we're gonna paint, and probably get some paint down on bits and pieces.
Because to be fair, you've got work in progress pieces there. You could grab those.
Lots of work in progress.
You could grab those agiles and knock them out.
Yeah, I could. Just start putting paint down on some crossbowmen.
So there you go. Assassin's Creed has entered the building. That's amazing. Jesus Christ. This is it. The New Year's resolutions are starting in earnest. David's starting them. Yeah, exactly. This is it. He's starting them in December. This is how committed this guy is.
Pro commitment because I'm shit at hobbying.
Hardly, mate. In fact, you're the opposite. You are. We have said it many times. You're a try-hard, and that is in the way. It's thanks very much, Limburger. I'll let you. My wife did her due diligence because I sort of said it's something I'd talked about and put on my Christmas list in a way, and I said, I don't know what size to get, and I've seen on the internet that some of them are a bit juddery and not very smooth, blah blah blah. So she did her due diligence, did a fair bit of tech research, and she reckons this one could be quite good. So
why is there a load of weird ass residue in the side of my Chinese container?
Pass, mate. Let's go back
all sticky.
Let's go back to the main scene before David gets too in depth with whatever that white sticky gunk is. Because excited as we are about Assassin's Creed, I don't think we're that excited. Is that right?
To be brutally honest, I think it's PVA.
That's what I mean, to be fair, given the colour and the consistency, it's the most likely explanation, but it's probably not the funniest. So,
you'll be starting rumours.
Honestly, Limburger, I mean, again, having a turntable like that, unless you're doing something like this, I don't know why you would want it. Because I was talking,
that guy.
I was even thinking about, well, could I film 360s and put them in my hobby blogs, etc. But I don't think there's any way to upload video direct to OTT. So the only way I'd have to do it is put links in.
Links,
yeah, exactly. So what I've got, I've started a YouTube Shorts channel where it's just like shorts of. Actually, that's a good idea. Post 360s of all my painting projects as shorts.
He sits there going, this is a bad idea. Hang on a minute. That's the best solution for our shorts.
That's it, mate. Go with the rum then. Rum, no cola. That's the best way. That's the way I always do it.
Fucking hell. Right.
So, club night. I had an amazing club night on Monday because I got to play the new version of Kill Team. A mate of mine, Luke, mate of ours, wanted to give it a go, so I was well up for that. We played on Luke's Into the Dark set, so it was the Into the Dark terrain with all of the sort of like Space Hulky interior stuff. I've only got 2 warbands fully painted. So I yeah, okay. That's always the way in it, Limburger. It's tough to get the hobby done. Although actually, as I get older, I am getting better with the discipline. So yeah, we played one of the missions from the Into the Dark set. I can't remember what it was called. The idea was it was an attack and defend one. I had to defend the objectives, and they had a switch state. So he had to come in as the attacker and switch them over to his control. I ran my veteran guardsman because I've only got 2 painted warbands. Both of the Octarius warbands are painted. I did a bit of a speed paint on them. I'm perfectly happy with them, but you know they are what they are. So I did the veteran guardsman, ran the veteran guardsman, and he brought some Chaos Space Marines out of the sort of codexy, indexy book, whatever the hell they call it, for Kill Team. So not one of the bespoke ones. And frankly, he kicked my fucking ass. But there are a couple of elements to that. Number one, the way I've built my miniatures, like the gunner, I've built him as a flamer, and I should really have him. I need something like a melter gun when I'm fighting Chaos Marines or even Standard Marines, because I need the armor penetration. And again, typically, just because that's the way I roll, the only specialist I didn't build was the demolitions guy who can place mines, which again are a really effective weapon against the Marines. So I was lacking the 2
essential tools.
Yeah, I was lacking the 2 models I really, really, really needed to stand a chance against him. I put up a good showing. I did lose 9 points to 3, so it wasn't exactly close. But we did the full 4 turns, which, got through the game no problem. Bearing in mind we were using an entirely new terrain set. I've only played 2 or 3 games, and I've never played the Veteran Guardsman before. The other thing I did do was completely get my sort of special army rule wrong. So there's an entire page of the Veteran Guardsman sort of like army list. And what I was supposed to do was pick like 2 special weapon attack options, which are supposed to represent guardsmen calling in like a strafing run from a fighter or a barrage from orbit or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you pick those 2 options, and then you, instead of activating a model, you can choose to do one of those 2 things during the game. And of course,
yeah.
I completely missed that until the last turn of the game. And again, because they're quite powerful one-off attacks, they probably would have been good to play early when he was clustered up. But, hey-ho, it's all about learning.
Live and learn.
Yeah,
Live and learn.
It's the first time I've played the Guardsman, so next time I will know. But again, I've literally played a handful of games, but every time I play Kill Team, there are so many things about the actual way the game works that just absolutely sing to me. It's got a fantastic differentiation. It's got a fantastic differentiation between range combat and close combat. The 2 dice mechanics work very differently. The whole concealed versus engaged status on all of your models, the I go you go, the push and pull of alternating activations, the fact that if you massively outnumber your opponent, they've still got the potential for overwatch shots even when they're fully activated. So again, it brings in a whole strategy of, now if I activate these models, if I make these models, because I outnumbered him 10-6, I think it was. So if I could plan so that it was like, okay, well I'll make sure my last 4 activations are these models, and I'm just playing for position and I'm out of line of sight, so you can't play any of your free Overwatch actions and deny him opportunities. It was really, it's just such a good little system. I'm sure we're still discovering rules. We got a bit of a, we were getting one of the way crits interact on the defense. Crit, again, it's got some real subtleties in it. Critical attacks require 2 normals to block them, but when you use criticals on a defense, they can still only block 1 dice. So if your opponent rolls no crits, rolling crits in defense is less valuable. It's just, it's got some real touches. You just think they must have,
Oh,
really,
if only they used that in Underworlds. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Again, it's a Games Workshop product, so I imagine there's no idea. We've got no idea who the design team is. We could probably check the rulebook up if I think about it later. I will. But I mean, you compare it to something bloated and obscene like either AOS or 40k, and you've got this nuanced, sophisticated. Don't get me wrong, it is not a simple game. I mean, you've got all sorts of active statuses on your miniatures, you've got multiple wounds to track, you've got 1,000 different weapons. Every model has unique attack profiles. It's a bit like Malifaux in a way, particularly with the bespoke kill teams. Every model has unique activations or unique actions that are only applied to. So like my hardened veteran guardsman has a 5+ ignore wounds, and my bruiser has an ability where he can reroll attack dice, and every model has this unique flavor. So it's not simple by any stretch, but it's tight. And from my experience, limited, it is only a handful of games, it hangs together so well. And it's fun. The thing is, I got absolutely smashed. I enjoyed the gaming experience. And to be fair, that's all that matters, mate, isn't it?
Yep.
So that was what I did.
We need to try some kill team in the new year.
Yeah, we definitely do.
I'm just finishing Carnivale minis actually first before I start painting Assassin's Creed, because I haven't rimmed the edge of my Doctor's bases. I just noticed.
Okay, well that's fair. I'm a great believer in finish something before you move on, because if you're anything like me, you'll leave that, like, for the sake of 30 minutes work, you'll leave it, technically unfinished, and it'll sit like that for 2 years. So yeah, you do that, buddy.
No, it won't sit like that for 2 years, because we're playing with Carnivale in the coming year.
Fair enough. So, and what about you then?
I played some Frostgrave.
You did.
And I built a custom winter scenario. Let me move back into shot slightly.
Is that the first time you've done a custom Frostgrave scenario?
Yes, it is the first time I have ever done a custom Frostgrave scenario. And it was really well received by Ricky and Dan, and it was enjoyable.
So it's a 3-player game?
3-player game.
So what did you have, about 7 minis each?
It's called The Last Excursion. Basically, your Frostgrave teams have been camping waiting for this storm to abate.
While David's talking, I will bring it up on the screen for everybody at home.
There has been meteor falls recently. So, as a consequence, one of your lookouts has just awoken your warbands in the middle of this raging storm because a meteor's fallen nearby. So you'll jump up, get your clothes on, and go start hunting for the meteor fragment.
Okay.
Is the scenario. Rules for the scenario are basically similar to the Ice Storm scenario, if people have already played it. It's a -1 for shooting attacks within 12 inches, and line of sight is only 12 inches.
Cool. So did you lift those visibility rules straight out of another scenario then?
Yeah, I think I lifted them out and tweaked them a little bit.
Okay, that's cool. Because I was committed to my kill team game, so I couldn't join in, but I did read it, and I didn't realise that you'd lifted those. That's really good.
And then rather than the traditional treasure deployment, the meteor in the center of the table is the source of this magical energy. So most of the treasure is incorporated within said meteor, and on a random roll of a D8 is the direction that the meteor was coming in, and pieces have fallen off. So basically, there's 3 treasures in a line leading up to it, to the impact point. And then the rest of the treasure you raid from going up to the meteor and performing an action.
Right.
with one of your lackeys to pick up a treasure token, basically,
So when
as
you
you're chipping this meteor to pieces.
When you say the rest, is there a limit on the number of? Did you put a limit on the number of treasure tokens that could be
I
taken?
didn't put a limit on the number of treasure tokens because it was Christmas and I was in a giving mood.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But for a proper game, I would use like the normal treasure scenario rules of 2 per player plus extra.
Do you think it could be? Do you think that's warranted? Because do you think it could be a bit inflated in a campaign setting?
Yes, it could.
Okay, that's fair, mate. That's good to know.
And then I also generated a new creature type called Ice Elementals.
Look at this. He's customizing everything. Fucking
customizing everything in the kitchen sink. They're a combo of a giant worm and a frost giant in regards to armor, wounds, that kind of stuff.
Just like a general hybridization of those stats.
Yeah. The only thing that I wanted to make them feel absolutely special / broken was give them the large keywords so they're easier to hit with ranged attacks, because there's not really monsters that are easier to hit and you only want to hit them at range.
Plus the fact you'd already massively nerf range in the scenario, so a bit of give back isn't really exactly huge, is it?
No. I made them powerful, so in melee they're dealing double damage.
Ugh.
Which is fucking horrible.
Yeah, that seems very powerful. Very scary.
Made them immune to crits. Not that it really matters, because the crit only deals an extra 5 damage, but still the point stands.
Yep.
They're immune to normal weapons, so they can only take damage through magical weapons.
Okay.
Because I was feeling a little bit sadistic, and they're magical creatures.
I do like that though as a lever in Frostgrave, because I do think if you some of the spells like the enchanter stuff, it gives you it rewards you for sort of like taking some of the less optimal choices.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And running them. And I love things like that. That's such a light touch stuff.
I made a new rule called Focused. So for those that have played Frostgrave, they know wandering monsters wander onto the table, see something in line of sight, go running after it.
Oh.
This is a creature that's powerful, i.e. dealing double damage, and immune to normal weapons. It's gonna literally go rampaging across the table.
Yeah.
Let's give it the focused key rule. Basically, it is only moving in a direct line towards the meteor in the center of the table because it wants the magical energies for itself.
Okay.
And if you get in combat because you're stupid enough to stand between this big fucking ice elemental and its goal, and you magically survive and he's still in combat with you, he's not in combat because he's a creature and he'll just push you away because he wants to carry on towards his goal anyway.
I get it.
So that's what the focus rule was. Basically for evading combat other than, okay, there's a turn of combat because Joe Bloggs has stood in the way, but actually Joe Bloggs didn't get wrecked somehow, and I need to carry on moving.
Yeah, and rather the ice elemental literally just stand there and literally wreck it for the sake of wrecking it, you built it into the rules so that he would win, push them off, and then move on. Yeah. I like that a lot, sir.
Because I don't know about you, but there's been times with monsters in fucking Frostgrave that I've just been like, what's the point? It's just handbags at dawn. You can't deal damage to it, it can't deal damage to you, but you're locked in combat kind of thing.
Yes.
Because creatures always lock combat out and don't want to push you away.
They just keep going till the grim death, don't they?
Yeah. This is a big magical creature with a goal that is immune to most types of weaponry crits, and we've already nerfed ranged in this scenario. Let's not make it more painful than it needs to be.
I think it's a really nice touch, mate. Really nice touch. It works
really, really well.
So everybody enjoyed the scenario, and I take it went well.
Yeah, Dan and Ricky enjoyed it. We managed to kill 2 of them between us.
That's awesome. So what did they? So what was the like one on the table and it just respawned or what?
No, basically, if you read the rules of the scenario,
Yeah.
when the players pick deployments, either corner or edges,
yes,
the ice elementals will then fill in the gap. So if the players pick corners, like we did,
yes,
the ice elementals have a center deployment,
right,
move towards the objective, and because there was two,
that's a
elementals
table edge center.
Yeah.
Yeah, center of a table edge. Got you.
So that was basically the deployment rules, and then whether they were on the, in theory, north and south flanks or the east and west flanks was determined by a dice roll.
Cool.
Of odds and evens on a D8. So again, we deployed all three of our war bands, then did the treasure deployment for the meteor impacting, which favoured and Dan's deployment. But Dan basically ignored it because there was a fucking great ice elemental between him and these treasures, so he just wandered off around them and away from them to begin with.
So did the ice elementals move towards the treasures or the actual thing in the centre of the table?
The meteor in the table centre.
Okay, right.
Because it's the biggest source of the energy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, excellent job. And who won?
We all got... The lads got 6 treasures off. I got 7.
Okay.
Basically... Oh, that was the other thing in the rules as well. It was kind of similar to Well of Dreams and Well of Sorrows, where if your wizard or apprentice went and stood next door to said meteor
yes,
and interacted with it, you got XP.
Okay.
So it was sort of that risk and reward of, I've got to go towards the centre where there's a big ice elemental coming for me, but I need it to get XP.
Yeah. And it was one of the scoring opportunities in the table.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Are you good? Did you sort of play it as, a one-off, so nobody really bothered tracking experience or anything like that? Or did you use it as a legit...
it as part of the campaign, because the other reason was, with Season 2, you can only go up 3 levels at a time, every time. Which
is another nice restriction, I think.
And whilst I've given the lads a load of treasures and they've got a load of grimoires and things, both Ricky and Dan... It's not like they can learn them. They've still got to play some games to learn them.
Yeah, sure. And not only that, it doesn't really matter with Frostgrave, does it?
It's a narrative game.
Exactly. It's not a fucking... You don't really need to worry about power creep. I mean, we've had some great... I remember bringing my Burrows and Badgers based animal warband when they were like level 1 sigilist against your warband when you were like level 10, I think, or 11. And it doesn't matter. Frostgrave, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, again, it's like
I was level 17, Dan had rolled up a brand new warband, and Ricky was level 4.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Just to echo the point, you were all playing warbands off different stages of their sort of like life, if you like, at their career.
Yeah.
And yet it was still an evenly balanced game. Sounds like an awesome scenario, mate. And it is the first...
We're have to give it a go.
Definitely. And it's... I tell you what, you need to not stop there. Because, to have such a win for your first homebrewed scenario for that, you're going to have to give that another go.
You know what we should probably do? And I don't know if there's an easy way to do it.
What?
Link that PDF in the show notes.
Do you know what? I was thinking about that. Placing the link in the video description is the easy bit. The easiest place to put it is on some sort of Google Drive, with a public tag.
Yeah. I'll get it uploaded to Google Drive and host it on Google Drive. Yeah.
If you put it on a Google Drive somewhere with a public access tag, I'll happily put that link in the video description, mate.
And if people at home do play it and try it, I'd like to hear your stories and feedback in the description and comments below.
If you do give David's Frostgrave Christmas scenario a go, please report back in the comments. How did it go? Was it good? Did it work for your group? Did you tweak it and change it for your own purposes?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the other thing, and it'll lean heavily into what we're talking about later, but, you know...
Tweaks of homebrew are good.
Yeah, it's all good in tabletop wargaming. So that sounds amazing, mate. To be honest, I'm a bit gutted that I didn't take part, because that sounds like a real event. We're going to have to get more organised, because it never occurred to me to do like a Christmas special club event, because I'm so inundated with requests for games, and there's so many things that I would love to play and get to the table.
You know what else we should do? We should do...
I never thought to keep it
Halloween.
Free. What, a Halloween special one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? We could even make Frostgrave the thing, because it is really scalable. It's got really easy access. I mean, you and I could even come up with miniatures to lend people, couldn't we? If people don't have warbands.
My Carnivale is now rimmed. I just need to give it a varnish coat.
But yeah, and do you know what else is really good about Frostgrave? It just takes a theme so easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, you do.
I mean, in the magic-soaked world of Frostgrave, it would be dead easy to come up with, like, magic pumpkins flying around eating people, and do you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing where nothing like that is incongruous or out of place at all, is it?
It's slightly not Arctic themed, but meh.
But
it's entirely magical.
Exactly.
And it's a defrosting magical city.
Yeah, that sounds fucking cool. Right.
So yeah, it was a good club. It was a good Frostgrave, and I think we're going to get some more played next year, aren't we?
We're definitely going to have to. I mean, to let everybody know at home, David and I are currently working our way through a massive set of Frostgrave terrain, because the club's got some nice stuff, but actually I don't personally have a great selection of Frostgrave terrain. So
no, you do not.
We are trying to remedy that. David's done me some fantastic 3D print. Is it all one? Is it all from one source, or is it
all printablescenery.com, mate?
Okay, mate. So David's done me a load of buildings, so we are in the process of painting those up, and getting them ready to play, so that we can do Frostgrave outside of club. And then...
Right, I'm just going to turn my camera off for 30 seconds because I've just got something to do.
Okay, mate.
So I'm just going to turn that off a second. But yeah, all in all, I think it was really well received, really well played, and you know the other thing that takes random scenarios quite well as well? Gaslands.
You've played more of it than me, so you'd be the expert on that, but I can see why, I guess, because it's fairly loosey-goosey and there isn't really a lot
quite agnostic.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of lore to it. It's not very well characterized or defined, and it's a bit of a mixed bag anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
In terms of the lore. Have a quick shoved in chat. Nothing much going on. Well, I'm going to end up knocking my beer over here. Got far too much going on my hobby desk. I better drink this beer. Yummy. Right. So, mate, news. Well, the first thing that I wanted to pull up was, everybody probably knows, but the Painting Phase, which is the channel that recently got together with Peachy of former GW fame, got hacked, and their channel ended up putting out fucking scam videos and hentai and all sorts of nonsense. Well, after a week, they managed to get their control of their channel back, and they put up a video yesterday, I think it was, or maybe the day before. Obviously saying thank you to everybody who'd been supportive of them and whatever while they'd been away. But they also discussed some channel things. And they talked about this story, the other big story that's going around the internet at the moment, this Henry Cavill Warhammer 40k thing, and opined on it for a little bit. So I thought, I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll give the painting phase a shout, because obviously we've mentioned them before, and I would highly recommend them as a channel. They produce great content. They recently did a sit and chat with Bob Naismith, one of the old GW designers, the man who was responsible for creating the first Space Marine sculpts back in the day. So they really do produce some great vids. So if you can, go and give them some love. And the other thing is, I thought we'd talk briefly about this Henry Cavill scenario. I mean, we talked about it before we came on air. My 2 cents, I'm going to throw this in. Am I excited? Yeah, of course I am. I'm currently reading the Horus Heresy novels. I've been involved in 40k in some way since Rogue Trader. I love the lore. I'm not going to even attempt to denigrate it. It's a great setting. It's really rich and well fleshed out. There's some great characterizations in it. There's some fantastic stories that spring out of it. Would I like to see that reproduced on TV or film? Yeah, of course I would. Like any Warhammer fan, I'd absolutely love it. But 2 things. First of all, it's Amazon. They do not have a great track record with IPs. Now, I know that Cavill is sort of like in the driving seat in a lot of ways, and he's a mega fan. So I'm sure he will...
He's not going to let it get shat on, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think he's going to be standing there, guardian over some of the worst transgressions that might want to be done by, you know, Amazon's modern production values. You know, he's going to be, you know, defending the 40k.
Gatekeeping.
Yeah, he's going to be defending the 40k intellectual property, I'm sure. Because as a mega fan, I don't think anything else, you know, I don't think anything else would be right at all. So, and the man is a big name in movies. He carries a lot of weight. I mean, just to get the project off the ground, I think is no mean feat, because it's not exactly the most TV friendly of settings, is it? I mean, the words are often bandied around, grim and dark, and it is definitely both grim and dark. Perhaps scarily so. So, you know, my sort of advice to people is just be careful, because it is Amazon, so there's a lot to go wrong. I mean, plus the fact, if he finds them obstructive, Cavill just may walk away from it. You know, he just may say, no, if you're going to take the piss, we just won't bother. So,
yeah,
you know,
bye.
And even if that doesn't happen, it's years away before we're seeing anything, isn't it, mate? Literally.
Yeah, we're not seeing it till 2024 at the earliest. Let's be brutally honest here.
If that. I mean, they've literally only just signed on the dotted line in the earliest of early stages, haven't they? So
yeah,
these things are years in production. So I think everybody could just do with taking a bit of a chill pill, calming down a little bit,
breathe,
yeah,
keep your knickers out of a twist,
step away from the hype train, and we'll just wait and see what happens.
Next stop, Rings of Power Season 2.
The reboot. Because the first one was a car crash. No comment. So yeah.
I watched it, I quite enjoyed it, but it doesn't take a lot to please me.
Yeah, I watched 2 episodes and didn't bother after that. simply because I didn't feel the need to. It didn't engage me at all, I have to say. It just didn't float my boat. So, do you have anything else to add, mate? Either about the painting phase or...
Well, I have not watched much of the painting phase. I need to watch some more of it. But, like we've already said, Cavill's a massive name. He's got loads riding on this.
That's true.
He's not only he's already not only been named as actor in it, but as director.
Yes, I saw that.
So we'll see how that goes. But credit where credit's due. It's grim and it's dark. It's hard to actually make content for it.
I think to make mass market appeal content, certainly. I mean, good luck to him. I haven't got a clue how he's going to do it, but good luck to him.
So yeah, that's my stance and opinion on it, and I've lost some contracts for it. Wonderful.
You lost something. Dun, dun, dun.
Shock horror.
This is where we came in. He lost his bloody vape. Have you found your vape yet?
Have I fuck?
Oh my god. He'd lose his fucking head if it wasn't screwed on.
I mean, yes. No, and guess what, mate? More yes.
No denials at all. We also now we have an apology. We have to eat a bit of humble pie here, mate, don't we?
Public service announcement. We were right, but not fully right.
We were completely wrong, is what he means to say. So, there is a 32mm game coming. So those of you who've been watching our channel for a while know that we've been shouting out these 32mm model sculpts that have been coming out sort of piecemeal from TT Combat for their drop fleet stroke commander universe. And we will.
It's Strike Team Commander, isn't it?
Well, that's the game anyway. But it's this drop fleet and drop zone commander are the two games that they do at the minute. And we were sitting here pontificating like a couple of know-it-all pricks. Oh, it's going to be a 32mm combat game. Oh, it's got to be. And we've had a news article which basically says no, not at the moment. There isn't going to be. So
it will be. But...
yeah, on the 16th of December, as part of their Advent calendar news run, TT Combat put up this, and basically, to make a very long-winded story short, they are selling the miniatures that they've put out there. They're going to be available, I think it's for £8 each. Something like that. They are currently marketed as collector's items or collector's pieces for people who just want a fantastic and interesting painting project. They have been talking for a while now in the studio about producing a 32mm combat game, and I think in the news article, did they use the word Strike Team, or was that was a Facebook group that came up? Wasn't it?
Drop Squad Commander was the Facebook group that got set up off the back of it. Strike Team Commander is what it will be called when it eventually releases.
Okay, this is their in-house name for it. But
they have also teased the fact that they're not working on one, but two games for the Drop Zone and Drop Fleet universe.
Yes.
One being a 32mm skirmish game, and the other with some early concept art being called Project Hunter.
Oh,
which is towards the bottom of this article.
So, do you know any more about Project Hunter?
Other than it looks like a PHR mech shooting the shit out of some local wildlife.
No. Okay, so they're doing a mech game.
Looks like it.
Okay, that's fine. I wondered what genre they were going to explore, whether it would be like 6mm super mass combat, but a mech game makes sense. If they've got the assets and they've got the... Because they're really hot at the minute, aren't they? mech-based games. So that makes total sense that they'd be jumping into that arena. But yeah, I mean, one thing the article does say is that essentially, although they've discussed it around the office, they don't think that they can currently put enough businesses' resources behind it to make it a success at the minute. So do you know what? Rather than release something that's half-assed with badly thought out rules and poor quality models that aren't very easy to get, they're going to go.
CW.
They're going to go.
Sorry,
they're
I
going to.
twitched.
They just said, yes, we probably will, but right now, no, we're not. So these sculpts are, as I said before, they're going to be available in resin as collector's pieces for fans who want something cool to paint, but don't expect a game anytime soon using these sort of assets. And do you know what? Fair play to you, TT Combat. You know, when you're ready, I think the market, I mean, as has been proved by the rabid way that these miniatures were taken up by their community, I think your community definitely wants to see the game there, and it'll probably do reasonably well in its niche. But do you know what? If you're not ready, we'll wait. Good on you. We've got plenty of other games to go at.
We'd rather have it balanced and working nicely.
Yeah, do you know, I'd rather wait 2 Do you know what? It's one of those things we were talking at McDonald's about the pros and cons of Kickstarter, and you know, having to wait sometimes years for a Kickstarter to deliver. And I was thinking about it in the context of this. I'd rather wait 2 years or more for a game to come out and the game to be good and finished
and balanced
and well planned and well supported. You know, I don't want it today. I don't need it today. I've got other things I can be doing today. Yeah, when it comes out, it'll come out.
No, I'm with you on that. So we're right, but we're wrong at the same time.
He's trying to make the best of it. We were fucking completely wrong, mate.
No,
yeah.
We're not, because again, they're working on 2 projects.
Yeah. No, if we'd have said, no, we don't think this is going to be a game, these are probably just collector's models, then we'd have been right. But as it is, we weren't. We were wrong. And I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to comment on.
It's been a quiet week. But
well,
let's be brutally honest. It's Christmas week.
It's Christmas! Yeah. So
Christmas time. Mistletoe and wine.
Yeah, that's it for news. A quiet one. What's time check? It's 10:02 coming up, so that's pretty good.
It's nearly main topic o'clock.
So, mate, are you started on the Assassin's Creed? What are you actually starting to? Have you thought about what you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm repainting.
You're repainting?
Yeah, I'm not happy with the dark Prussian blue that I was using.
Okay, too dark.
Too dark. Well, especially if I'm going to speed paint these.
You are, right?
Just apply a wash.
Okay. So what are you going for? Base colour wash done?
I'm going probably base colour.
I heard you say contrast paint when you were searching around. Does that mean you're using a contrast?
No.
Oh,
I'm using contrasts in places.
Okay.
But I don't have a massive selection.
Because we've talked about this before, and you tend to use the contrasts more as like technicals, don't you? For washing and glazing. So you're doing basically you're repainting with Vallejo, are you?
Yeah, currently repainting from dark Prussian blue to Prussian blue.
Yeah.
Just to give them a bit of a higher colour. Why is your base so sticky, bitch?
That's because it was in the bottom of that container with all that PVA. How did you get PVA in that container?
I don't know.
because it was
Magic.
obviously congealed all over the bottom. So,
Like most things in my house, I don't know how it got there, but it got there.
I don't know how it happened, but it just sort of happened.
Speaking of where is my vape and the fact that I don't have it right now.
I thought for a minute
I had it earlier.
I thought for a minute you were going to say, speaking of my vape, I found it!
Nope.
Oh dear.
It'll be somewhere in the pile that is my bed. And to be fair, this week I've had a fucking mare of a week with my 3D printer. Of course, the week that I need my 3D printer to not skip a beat and to just get the fuck on with its life decisions and print the Christmas presents that it is required to print. No.
Shit.
Just no. Just
so what's...
fail. Not enough supports. Fail. You've resupported. Well, you didn't resupport it enough. Fail. Just. Okay.
Okay. So basically,
So much so that I have resorted to printing a different base that came out perfectly fine on the last round of prints for the rest of the presents.
wow. So is it just bases then?
Bases and some miniatures and some other bits and pieces.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's pretty much a full-on disaster. I must confess, it is good to have a friend like you because it constantly reminds me that I don't want to do 3D printing at all. It does.
You do not want to touch it with a barge pole.
Damn right. I mean, God almighty, the amount of time you must spend faffing about.
Well, again, it's like Ricky's 3D prints. I've got to support them because the fucking supports are nowhere near strong enough, and I can tell that just by looking at them. So
that's more time. More time you've got to sink into that project.
Yep. And there's 5 things to support for Ricky, and because of an absolute nightmare that I had last night with a kitchen sink tap, we got 1 of 5 done. Bear in mind, I'm meant to be giving them to Ricky on Saturday.
Yeah, okay. That's the problem as well, is that, like you say, you're a big thing you've got is giving a lot of prints as presents, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can imagine that you're getting a little stressed right about now. With only a few days to go.
So I have got the boys' 3D printing Christmas presents sorted.
Well, that's got to be priority, though, isn't it? Really?
Yep.
The lad. So, talking of Christmas, are you pretty much... Obviously, you're having a bit of a mare with your presents. Is your family arrangements all sorted? Do you know what's going on with your parents and that? Are they all ready for Christmas?
Kind of. Presents are all sorted. Everyone's done now, or as done as they're going to be from me. Whether they like it or not. I've got all my wrapping still to do. I've got the works Christmas do tomorrow night as well, so yay.
I thought you normally enjoyed your works Christmas dues.
I do enjoy my works Christmas dues, but not when I have a shit ton of presents to wrap. It's like Hugh and Laura tonight, bless them, messaged me going, "We're coming to bring your presents over tomorrow night." I said, "No, you're not. I'm not in."
And anyway, I haven't done yours, so you're not.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that was pretty much how that conversation went, was it?
That was how that conversation went. And Laura, bless her, was like, "There's not much time left, you know." And I'm like, "Yes, I know, but your husband's fucking 3D prints are failing. So if you could have a word with my 3D printer, it would be very much appreciated."
Next year, mate, just buy. Just put your hands in your pocket and buy some.
I have bought. I just bought STLs.
Yeah, well, lesson learned. Next year, don't.
To be fair, one of your 3D printed presents, I have had the STL for since September.
Okay.
or August, when the My Mini Factory summer sale was on. And I got them printed ahead of time, but then me being an asshole that I am, completely lost one of the pieces for it, so I had to reprint it.
Oh my god, mate. Fucking hell, you love to do your life on hard mode, don't you? So, thinking about 3D prints for a second, it's just occurred to me, you were going to watch that battle report with Jerry, the full spectrum dominance. Yeah. What was
Full spectrum dominance.
What did you think?
I am backing, because I already own both of the armies.
Yes.
I am backing their terrains here.
Okay.
Because, let me quote to you their terrain tier option. If I can find it. Searching for My Mini Factory on My Mini Factory is not going to help. Evening all, don't drink and paint and stream. It's just a recipe for disaster.
For drunkenness. We've got 4 minutes.
Right, full spectrum dominance. Fuck off adverts. I just want to look at the minis. Right. Campaign. Back. Buy this now. So, I am going for their terrain tier.
Yes.
It is $38.
American?
Yeah.
Okay.
And includes the rulebook.
Yes.
The Shanty terrain bundle, the Asian City terrain bundle, and any and all milestones unlocked.
Okay.
Bear in mind the milestones at the moment, they have got a comms tower, new scenario, new behemoth rules with an extra manual, outposts, new scenarios, new tech vehicles, scattered terrain crates, a new scenario available from February 23. Mainframe available from March 23, basing elements and bases, enlisted mortar, underground bunker entrance upcoming.
And those are just like the stretch goals or whatever they call them on that platform. How many pieces of terrain do you get in the pack for, like, so because you've got 2 different flavors there by the sounds of it. So how many pieces is that?
Let me go have a look.
Or is it like a modular toolbox for building stuff?
Includes 10 products. Battlefields of Tomorrow Asian City 1. It contains 6 unique buildings.
Okay.
Shanty Roads contains a large gas station, 4 wall sections, a gate, and 2 roadside shacks.
Cool.
And 6 unique objective markers for all post-apocalyptic terrains.
Okay.
Asian City 2 contains 6 unique commercial buildings.
Right.
Asian City 3 contains 8 unique residential buildings.
Right.
Shantytown 2 contains 6 unique buildings. And the FSD rulebook. Wasteland Outpost, Comms Tower. Shantytown 1, which is 6 unique buildings. And that's it. There's a fair bit in there.
So it's what, 30 odd?
30 odd, 40 odd buildings.
And these are all scalable at anywhere between what, 15 and 6 mil?
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
So printing 10 mil and calling it done because extra terrain for Drop Zone Commander, my boy.
Yeah, you commented on that before, that you'd be able to dual purpose the stuff. And that sounds like an excellently smart idea.
Because again, to begin with FSD, if I build FSD or build and print a FSD army, it's like, okay, we'll just start playing at 10 mil scale on, what's it called? The DZC terrain I've got, because I've already got a project on with a load of 10 mil terrain. Let's not add more to it to begin with.
Cool. Yeah, as I say, makes sense. So then, mate, shall we tackle our main topic? So, obviously, David's been talking about it already, in that he created a custom scenario for Frostgrave, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah.
And
well, we've spoke about it and touched on it before with Dungeon Saga.
Yeah, Dungeon Saga. I created a couple of custom scenarios for that. And again, I went a bit like David, full bore. I didn't use the Dungeon Saga tiles. I used repurposed an old D&D playmat and created brand new monster profiles and a whole new Dungeon Keeper's dashboard. And the whole thing was themed around dogs of various kinds, spectral dogs and giant two-headed dogs. And I had my own custom keeper cards, whatever it's called in Dungeon Saga, the
Keepmaster.
Keepmaster cards. So yeah, and again, you and I have spoken. We often speak about modifying. The thing is there's all sorts of ways that you can modify tabletop war games, or in fact any type of tabletop game. Let's keep it. So let's discuss some of the ways that you can do it. So like, taking David's example, all he did was create a custom scenario to use within Frostgrave. You were pretty much using Frostgrave as is, aren't you? So
yeah, I just tweaked and combined a couple of different scenarios.
He's literally not modding
together and made flesh.
Not modding the core at all. Just creating a new scenario. And again, it's pretty much exactly the same as I did with Dungeon Saga. The scenario was, creating a Dungeon Saga scenario, because of the way the game is structured, is a little bit more convoluted because everything is built around that keeper board, isn't it? So yes. It has all of your, and again, you've got, because everything is sort of bespoke to a scenario, you've got to create a lot of assets to do a custom scenario. But the principle is still the same. The actual core rules of the game, the way combat worked, none of that was changed. We were literally just
changes in that regard. It's
just literally sticking a scenario onto a pre-existing game. And to be honest, with some games, that's really easy, isn't it? Dungeon Saga is probably one of the hardest I can think of. But if we were to come up with a custom bloody 40k scenario to play just for laughs with ourselves, we could probably knock something up in 10 minutes with an objective on the board or some sort of capture the flag, or it doesn't have to be a massive mammoth task to undertake something like that, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's
go on.
It's one of those things. So long as you and your opponent know how to play the rules.
Yep, that's another good point. It isn't dependent on your opponent knowing how to play anything or playing anything differently from the core rulebook, is it? No. So that's another thing that makes it really easy to be one of the first things that you have a go at, because the other players don't have to do anything. They don't have to change their perspective. Whereas if we move on to some like the next
we
way
keep saying about it is tweaking. What's it called? Underworlds.
Yeah.
Tweaking
another way is
Underworlds.
Yeah, another way is to actually in some way modify the core rules. Now, this is quite funny because this occurred to me when we was talking about whether to do this topic. Actually, we did this on Monday night with our game of Kill Team, because both Luke and I decided not to play with tactical ploys. Because in fact previously when Luke had played the game, he didn't bother with the scouting phase. So to be honest, people have probably done modded games and not even aware that they've done it. Even, say for example, you were to play at Age of Sigmar 3rd edition and leave out the monstrous rampage rules, which happen in that one tiny little window before the charge phase it is, or between the charge phase and the combat phase. I can't even remember when.
The last time we played.
Yeah, exactly. We left that out. Effectively, we modded the game by just leaving a rule out. And sometimes that's all you do, isn't it? You can just leave a rule out. Just don't play a rule. A great one would be 40k and stratagems. Play 40k, but don't play any stratagems. Maybe just play command reroll and don't play anything else. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that there are loads of people who do that. They just take something that they're not particularly... And it can be for all sorts of reasons. With us in Kill Team, it was a case of we felt we got enough to worry about. Because I was playing with a completely new terrain set. You've got a load of terrain rules that go with that into the dark set. The way you interact with hatches, it was a completely new mission to me. And I was like, okay, we've got enough to worry about. Let's just not worry about that. And that's perfectly valid. Rules
in Frostgrave, again, there's something that's completely optional, but that's sort of built in from a game design point of view.
I was going to say, sometimes the game designer even allows you... I mean, again, to be fair, I think it's a fantastic thing when a game designer puts that word optional on a rule. What's the
Modding and or extending a game is fun when the game you're changing is good in its own and the source material inspires ideas.
Yeah, definitely, Limburger. I think that's when it's easiest, isn't it? When
yes.
And to be fair, that's when a game inspires you.
Well, again, even we spoke about it. When did we speak about narrative stuff?
Oh, it was a couple of weeks, a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Even narrative games and linking campaigns, and as we discussed at the time, if you win one game, then having an advantage going into the next game.
Yeah, like you have 10% more points, or your opponent
That's a form of rules tweaking and modifying for narrative fun purposes.
What was I going to say?
Underworlds is the big one we keep saying about modding and
this is a slightly different one, because I mean, as well as leaving rules out, just simply not playing a rule. I mean, you mentioned briefly optional rules. The thing is, I know that some people find that scary or annoying when I've heard it said, particularly with board games, like you watch these board game channels, people, like when a manufacturer or whatever puts an optional rule or a variant rule in a board game, there is a category of people who get pissy about that because they like, no, just tell me the way to play your game and I'll play it that way, sort of thing. I think, to be fair, that's probably unique to board gaming, because certainly in our hobby, the thing is, miniature wargaming, for all sorts of reasons, has a huge amount of creativity in it, mate, doesn't it? Painting, modelling. And I think when you're a creative, when you've got that creative in you, switching it to the rules is only a very small step to the side, isn't it?
Yes, I have a slight issue.
What?
My contrast paint that I'm currently trying to use to paint the black is not going down on this particular miniature.
What? As in not producing any effect?
As in it's hydrophobic and balling the fuck away from the surface of the mini.
Mate, speed paints, they're the way to go. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. But as well as just leaving a rule out, mate, there is also full-on changing a rule. And this comes back to what you've just mentioned with us and Underworlds, isn't it? We've played enough Underworlds that we've got issues with...
We've got feel bads with the crit rule.
The crit
rule... Because a single crit on a defense roll will beat any number of successful attacks because crits trump everything.
Yes, and it just has a sort of a... I mean, the thing is, again, when it happens to you in a game and you roll a 4 dice attack with 4 successes and your opponent rolls a 1 dice block and gets a single crit and blocks everything, you just think, yeah, actually, this is a bit fucking wonky, innit? But I mean, there are other issues with Underworld. There's the massive power creep, and we've talked for a while about, because the thing is, it's absolutely gutting. The first few months I spent playing Underworlds, it was all Night Vault, and it was all warbands that were either from the first wave or the second wave, and I had really close games, and it was really good fun. As soon as I started dragging my old stuff, and David and I played a couple of games, and Dave, you've got stuff from Beastgrave and Diachasm, and immediately it was like, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? And it's a shame, because on the flip side of it, you've had exactly the same experience the other way, haven't you, mate? You've played at club where everybody was in that Diachasm Beastgrave bubble, and it all worked fine, didn't it?
Yes.
And so we've talked many times about, well, what do we need to do to change the rules, to smooth things out? How do we make it so that I can take my bloody first wave warbands and play the later stuff and not have these stupid lopsided games where you get utterly destroyed? That's the worst side of modding a game, when you're actually trying to fix problems in it. You know, problems that actually make the game, that hold the game back from being fun. And that's sort of like that's the next step on from what Limburger was saying, where if you've got a game that's already fun, changing it to bring your own flavour or life to it is really easy. And I think it's definitely fair to say, changing a game or tackling a game that you feel's got issues to try and fix it is definitely a lot harder. And it takes a lot of motivation to want to tackle it, because the easiest thing to do is just say, do you know what, fuck you, I'm going to go and play this game instead.
You're going to go walk away from it. I think,
and that does happen. I mean, to be fair, mate, you and I have both done, game. I mean, I'm going to take what I said about Kill Team. I have not found any issues yet with the brand new Kill Team, but I've only played a handful of games. But that's definitely a fair accusation, Limburger, that Games Workshop have got a rep with their games. Whether you label it power creep, bad design, whatever label you want to call it, the end result is the potential for huge negative gaming experiences is
ever present.
Like the fucking elephant in the corner. It's looming over you. Is this going to be a fucking car crash? We've got everything ready to go. Cross your fingers, lads.
Again, leagues. Let's release a new faction. Oh, wait a minute, it's broken.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, because to be honest, that's the other side of it. Rather than try and mod 40k or fix 40k, you and I have both just walked away from 40k, haven't we? And said, because again, it's too big a thing to tackle.
Well, again, the other thing, and this is no discredit to the lads at club, but everybody at club plays 40k as per their rules. Do you know what I mean? As per the rules of GW.
Yeah.
If we sit there and have to mod the rules within an inch of their life to make it playable, it's only going to confuse those that play the game.
Yes. And again, you and I hope, are going to do some sort of like very highly customized and curated 40k experience around something narrative around that supplement that you showed me.
Ravengard versus Tau.
But again, that will be an entirely collaborative experience. You and I will work out how we're going to make it fun, and we're going to put the work in to make that happen. And like you say, you can't do that unless you've got two people like us heavily committed to do the preparation ahead of the actual game and to do work plus effectively.
Yet another mini that's hydrophobic.
Clearly
I didn't put enough primer down.
And another area where you get modding is role-playing games. Now, you run a bit of 5e, didn't you? Did you?
Yes, I did.
Did you play literate? Because you were doing the Storm King's Thunder, was it?
Yeah, Storm King's Thunder.
Did you do it entirely
Hang
as
on,
is?
mate. I need to send a fucking model for a bath.
Do you know what it is that's actually causing the
Either the primer coat isn't thick enough, and I'm still going over plastic.
Okay.
Or it's just the particular primer that I used, because unfortunately,
hang on a minute. It couldn't be PVA on them.
Possibly.
Bearing in mind what was in the bottom of that container, could they have been contaminated or had PVA poured on them that's now sort of set as an invisible...
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. That is a thing.
Thing is, to be fair, I suppose with ordinary paint, you probably would get away with it. But because it's contrast, it's like, no way is that going to work.
Yeah, because it's contrast, it's just like, nah, mate. The paint's physically splitting off the model.
So did you do any custom work with that Storm King's Thunder, or were you just running straight out the book?
It was completely custom.
Okay, cool.
Because don't forget, with yourself, we fucked off up to Silvery Moon.
That's right. We went to meet my parents and stuff, didn't we?
You forgot about invisibility spells.
Look, she was just reacting in the moment and stabbing a librarian. That's all I'm saying. She's frightened of it. It's librarian phobia. It's a well-known thing, mate.
Yeah, librarian phobic.
But role-playing, see, again, I suppose it's interesting we've got a spectrum, because in role-playing games, the whole concept of modding or customizing, it's built into the DNA of it, isn't it? Very few people play or run a role-playing game and don't do some degree of customization.
Yes.
I mean, again, like with all of this thing that we're talking about, it's all about degrees. You can customize your role-playing experience by just writing your own adventure, or you could entirely customize the rule set that you're using. Take whole...
Limburger's just made a massively valid point. You're better off playing OPR for Xenos Rampant if you want to fix the game as broken 40k.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. Yeah, and you're dead right, Limburger. It gets to the point where when the problems are so big that actually just stepping away and playing with a different product is definitely an easier answer.
Yeah, unfortunately, 40k is a problem child. Yeah,
to be fair, it's because it's so big. It's because it's one of the biggest in the market. It gets away with it. I mean, if it was a smaller game and it had as many issues as 40k does, it would just be dead. You know, the company would have gone under after a year and everybody would have forgotten about it. But
yeah,
it's because it's got that complexity of the models, and the history are so good, the IP is so strong, and they've had some strong glory days that they've been riding on the coattails on for decades. They're getting away with it, and all we can do is hope that it turns a corner at some point, because I've had many good years playing 40k and I wouldn't mind playing more. I've certainly got the model collection for it, but
again,
if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't.
Say it again. Hard reset of 8th. That was a very good time.
It was. But I mean, again, coming back to what we were talking about, with role-playing games, it can be something as simple as writing your own scenario. Or, I mean, one of the video channels I love on YouTube is this guy, Dungeon Craft. This guy, I mentioned him a week or two ago talking about his campaign videos. But as well as the campaign videos, he does a lot of rules videos and homebrew videos, and a lot of advice on DMs who might be scared of taking Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and ripping it to pieces and literally, you know, turning it into their own Frankenstein, because obviously this guy is my sort of age. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's late 40s, early 50s, I should think. He's been playing since Red Book D&D, same as me, the old basic box. And you know, he advocates this no fear mentality. Just if you don't like the initiative system, get rid of it, change it. If you don't think hit points work because everybody's a superhuman and can't be killed, change it. If you don't like death saves, change it. He advocates this no fear approach to
so long
DMing.
as you have a conversation with your players.
Yep.
It shouldn't be an issue, and I think this is something that this is also the reason why we get on so well with narrative and tweaking games and everything else, because me and you have a conversation, can bounce it, can come up with ideas, twist it, run off one another, and then go somewhere with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Certain people absolutely terrified to tweak something for whatever reason it happens to be. Get out there, grab something by the horns, and get on with it.
Yeah. Heck.
Modding may be built into the DNA of RPGs, but people are being trained to rely on official products, especially in the D&D setting.
Yeah, the thing is, Limburger, this is becoming... I think it's becoming much more common, actually. You make a very valid point. It's funny, actually. One of the reasons, actually, if I think about it, probably one of the reasons I don't enjoy 5th edition. I've tried it. I don't like it. For me, it's over cumbersome and too complicated, and I just want to throw half of it away. But I think and one of the reasons I haven't stuck with 5e is that I seem to be pretty much the only person who feels that. Most of the other people I've come across, it's like you said, they're almost like, well, no, this is it, you know. And I think you're right. I think this, although it may have been built into the DNA of role-playing in the past, I think you're right. And now that's an interesting question, Limburger. Where do you think that's coming from? Do you think that is coming from designers like Wizards of the Coast who don't want people fucking about with their product, that want people to play it as is?
To have a consistency amongst the player base.
That's a very good point, David. So that could be the motivation, you think? They don't want people creating their own little cliques,
tweaks, rules.
You know, they don't want 6 people in Seattle or 12 people in Birmingham playing D&D completely differently. They want everybody playing the same D&D. Do you think that that's what it is, so that it has that uniformity?
I think the other thing that's really not helping Wizards at the moment is the fact that they're publicly traded and they've got a fire hose of releases.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, even the investment banks are questioning the way that they're dealing with their IPs and treating their customers, and actually asking, is your business still going to be here in 5 years? That's why it's not, you know, that's why they're downgrading their stock and that, because, yeah, that's a slightly different argument, and one, frankly, we've covered before, isn't it, about, you know, how much stuff is enough stuff, and how much should these companies really be expecting people to buy to keep running on the treadmill of this game. And to be fair, should a game be that? Should it be a treadmill?
It should never be a relentless release schedule.
Can I just be devil's advocate? How much of this change in attitude do you think is to do with just a general change in attitude amongst a generation that's come after me, people who are like 20 years younger than me, 30 years younger than me? Do you think these people are less brave about being creative and creating their own thing? I don't know about you, Limburger. How old are you? What are you, my generation? Or are you considerably younger? Are you in your 30s? I mean, because I'll be honest, I wonder how much of it is actually just the way people are becoming.
Well, this is the other thing I was literally just about to say. How long is it since we had like a massive Skyrim release type game, RPG, and well, again, like even GTA and stuff? We've had years and years without a new one.
Right.
And I know they're in development and stuff, but again, like, get on with it. Stop being a pansy and trying to serve everything to everyone on a platter, because certain people want to carve their own path when it comes to gaming.
And do you think it's those sort of open-ended free-form gaming experiences they're deliberately staying away from because they think people don't want them?
That's what I mean.
Yeah. See, Limburger's of the opinion that it's actually driven by the companies. This sort of uniformity of thinking, and yes, we're all individuals, and don't change this, don't break that. I don't know. As I say, I just throw that out there as a question more than anything, because
that and you like being an antagonist.
Yeah, you know, because it's like with 40k. You know, people seem so fearful to just do your own thing. Yeah, no, you are dead. You are dead right. Limburger says there, business needs to sell stuff. You can't sell more if you teach people to make their own. Do you know what, mate? That is probably it, isn't it? Because actually,
capitalism at its finest.
Yeah, that's why the spirit of creativity has been hammered out of the game. Because if you're going to be creative and do your own, I suppose it's exactly the same with 40k. The reason that Rogue Trader has changed from being an open-ended role-playing type experience. You know, when you look at the massive, I don't know what it is, 300-page rulebook for Rogue Trader, very little of it is rules. Most of it is like advice for how to construct scenarios and how to, and lore and history.
Settings.
Stuff to actually feed you. Here's a book of ideas. Go away and do something with it. They don't want that now. They want to. Cheese me. You're 1 year older than me, Limburger. We're the same age, basically.
Look at the new Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game.
Right, what about it, mate? Because I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it too closely.
We've had a skim of the rules and stuff briefly.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. From the skim that we had at like UK Games Expo and stuff. Whilst the book is very good and there is some lore and setting advice and other bits and pieces in there, it does seem more and more like a Wizards of the Coast book, i.e. very focused on how the game operates, how you do X, how you do Y, how you do Z. Than here's a setting, have at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It probably is a bit more granular and a bit more focused. And the other thing that's happened is that they've now spewed out all of the enemy within campaign. The thing is, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay back in the day was it was supported by little White Dwarf articles and little things here and there. And then they did do a campaign. Occasionally they'll do a big release. But there was this big void where people just created their own material. They played the game in their own way. But now it's exactly like you've said and Limburger said. Companies don't want to give you the breathing room, do they? They don't want you to be able to draw breath. It's like, so you finished, you finished whatever the hell it was called, Storm.
Vermintide or whatever.
What's that D&D one you did? You finished Rise.
Storm King's Thunder.
You finished Storm King's Thunder. Here's bloody, I don't know, Dragon Witch bollocks or whatever the next one is, and the new book hits you in the face, and it's like, right, here's the next campaign. This will keep us busy for 6 months, and bang, there's another one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right, Limburger. It probably is the companies that are doing this, but it's sad. And if we're here to do anything, it's to encourage everybody to resist. Okay. Modifying your tabletop gaming experience is something that everybody can do, and don't be intimidated. You can do it to any degree, from the smallest change to the most massive change. don't be afraid to do it. One other thing I wanted to shout out, because it was something that I hadn't really thought about before, was modding board games. I mean, again, I don't play.
I mean, again, though, we've already kind of touched on it, because what is?
I suppose, yeah, Underworlds is a board game. Yeah.
And also, what's it called? Dungeon Saga.
Dungeon Saga does have massive board gamey elements to it. I will give you that. Yes. But yeah, I watched this video. It just came up totally fucking randomly in my feed. You and I are massive fans of Everdell, aren't we? And
yes, all the Everdell.
I'll be honest, I've played Everdell loads, and I don't really see that there's much of a problem with it. I love the game. I've enjoyed it. I do appreciate that if you're sitting down as a veteran with somebody who's new to the game, there is a little bit of a skill gap that means you're probably going to win. But a lot of games have, that's part of gaming, isn't it? If you're a veteran, if you're a veteran at any war game, you've got to take your opponents into consideration. Do you really want to faceplant them, or is it about coaching them and making them better so that they'll enjoy their next game? But this guy did this video, and the title is something like "How I Fixed Everdell," and I was like, "Fixed Everdell? Why? What the fuck's wrong with Everdell? Everdell's a perfectly good board game." And without getting too deep in the weeds, basically what the guy has done is he's changed some of the randomness. He just suggests some small tweaks to the way that the game is played to just modify the sort of statistics, because it's a large part of Everdell is played off a drawing cards from a deck. Drawing cards from a deck, and the deck gets pretty thick. I think there's 100 and something cards in it, 100 odd cards in the deck in Everdell.
200 odd, I'd say.
There's a lot of cards in there, and he just simply said, basically subdivide that by type into 4 separate decks of cards so that people have more control about what they pick. So that if they're looking for a common critter or a common location that's more likely to generate them resources in the early game, it gives them a way to ramp up so that then they can choose the unique ones in the later game to actually start to combo off and build into it. And it was just small changes like that help make what is a good game into a game where you've got much more control over the pace and the flow. It gives you some more player agency to manipulate the game experience. And I watched the video and I thought, do you know what, those are such good ideas. And it had never really occurred to me that there's even modding going on in the board game space. I mean, I'm sure this guy isn't the only bloke doing videos like this. And it never occurred to me you could probably find how to mod Scythe, how to mod Pandemic, to improve it. Do you know what I mean? There are people...
Well, it's funny you speak of this Scythe, and you've mentioned Scythe. Oscar, when you're watching this later in the future, your dad already got you a Christmas present ahead of time. There's a surprise.
So yeah.
My little Scythe.
Right.
So it takes the premise of Scythe,
yes,
breaks it down into a kid-friendly version designed by Hobby Chew with her daughter Vienna Chew, and illustrated by Katie Cow. Completely different setting. Each year, Seven Kingdoms send 2 of the most promising young Seeker siblings to participate in the Harvest Tournament. The first kingdom to earn 4 trophies will be crowned the new ruler of Prom. So it's similar to Scythe in some regards, but with a kid-friendly twist, repackaged, reboxed, and sold.
I see your point. I wondered where you were going with this. I said, well, what you're effectively saying is that somebody's custom mod of Scythe, and it's so good that they've thought, yeah, we'll just go commercial with this. With their blessing.
This is what I mean.
Yeah, that is a good spot. That is a good spot.
Like the fact of, okay, this is probably a little bit too in-depth for kids, but we want to have some hobby time with our children. Let's tone down the rules, tweak the rules, do some stuff right, that's all done now. Right, let's do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Limburger's what's it? Limburger, just put a little comment. Pathfinder Society. Is this something to do with the Pathfinder role-playing game? Is this like a... Who's the name of that bloody company that does Pathfinder? It's gone. But is this something to do with them?
can't remember the name.
Are you saying that they've got like a... I don't know, some sort of subscription thing or a way to... Basically, it's what you're saying is that they bully you into taking the official line, only play the official adventures. That seems a weird thing. I've never come across it. But... So, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, we were talking about commercially... I mean, I was thinking about that. You made that point, right? What about Conflict 47?
Yeah,
That was
alternate history for...
That was basically... Because that was a mod of Bolt Action First Edition, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sci-fi.
Yeah. And again, it sort of took off and grew its own legs, didn't it?
This is a thing. Like, if you're good at your mods, you might get a new game out of it.
Well,
But we again, Frostgrave, we come back to the elephant in the room that we both love to play. Spellcaster magazine that you can pick up from Drive Through RPG. Black Powder rules, Dragon rules, How to Ride Horses rules, fucking
just a quick...
any rule for any particular type of the Frostgrave scenario, set and/or games. Probably there, probably done.
Just a question: was Spellcaster written by Joseph, or was it like external contributors?
Bits of both.
Oh, okay. So it was people throwing their bit. Because I tell you another game that was exactly like that: Mordheim.
Yeah,
Mordheim was GW used to get all sorts of random people writing bloody Paizo
Mordheim content.
Yeah, Paizo, that's the company. Well done, Limburger. So that's some sort of... I'll Google that later and find out what that Pathfinder site is. It sounds like a fucking dumb idea. Not that I've ever really done any Pathfinder or Paizo stuff. But yeah, again, TSL Watsy does something similar too. To be fair, yeah, the way that they do it is they just literally bombard you with shit. It's like, again, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. You haven't got time to homebrew anything after you finish buying all the books at like fucking 60 quid a throw or whatever they are. You know, you've barely got time to play through all the official content. And 40k and Games Workshop are just the same with their products. They don't want to give you room to breathe. Oh, it's a tournament sub-format. Okay. Got you. Right, I get you. Yeah, I mean, again, that's a bit of a... I mean, I'll be honest, I think it's... The way I would see tournament role-playing is exactly the same way as competitive Play 40k is viewed. For every one person who turns up to Adepticon or the Las Vegas Open or wherever... There must be 1,000 or more people who've never been to a 40k event, who play 40k or collect 40k or paint 40k.
Yeah.
Again, if any company that's, I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Any company that focuses their entire philosophy of marketing and game design around your competitive scene, which will probably make up the most ridiculously small portion of your customer base. If you make that your sole focus, that's going to go one way. I'm going to tell you how that's going to go. Fucking badly. You know, you can't do that. I mean, by all means, produce products that cater to that audience.
But not exclusively for that audience.
But if you make that your focus, it's not going to end well. And to be fair, what's his name? Privateer Press found that out with War Machine. That's why they ran into trouble. Because
people playing with bases rather than actual miniatures.
Well, not only that, it wasn't so much the way that the tournament scene went with Privateer, with War Machine. It was the fact that War Machine stopped listening or thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And all of the other players just wandered off to other gaming systems. Because the stuff that Privateer became absolutely fucking obsessed with, they didn't give a shit about. So they deserted the game and went to do something else. And that's finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Counter-Strike was a mod for Half-Life. You see, you learn it all here. It's fascinating. Yeah, same thing. I mean, again, like I say, competitive play is what competitive play is. But and again, David's mentioned it earlier. Who's the one category of person who is not going to want to mod or tweak or change the game in any way is the competitive player. Because if they're walking into a blind event that they've spent serious money and logistical time planning to get to play a game, they don't want to walk in the door and suddenly find, oh yeah, and we use this house rule and this house rule and this house rule. I mean, I know there are tournaments that do run with house rules, but the tournament organisers do have to make sure everybody's on the same page before they turn up, or the arguments, I imagine, would be apocalyptic.
And it's all announced ahead of time, produced in PDFs in triplicate that you have to sign to get your tickets, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Like I say, modding, even in the smallest ways, tabletop gaming, it's like card games as well. I mean, we've mentioned Magic the Gathering many times. And
how many different Mulligan rules are there for Magic?
Well, there's only one now officially, the London Mulligan. There's only one way to play Magic.
Paris and everything else before that.
They have changed the Mulligan rule 3 times, but as I say, the current rule as of 2020, I think it changed in the official rules, is now the London Mulligan, as they call it. But it might be 21. I can't remember when they changed it officially.
Yeah.
But my point was going to be about Magic, was it's another game that if you play it without mods, it can be a fucking car crash. It's like,
again, look at the fact that we both love Commander versus Standard.
Yeah, but I mean, even in Commander, right? If you and I walked into a gaming club, we drove 50 miles to go to some random gaming club, and just because we saw on the internet, on Facebook, oh, these guys play Commander, and we walk in there with our Commander decks, and we find out that they all play fucking
Battleship Standard.
Well, or they play that Super Commander, where it's all like 1 turn wins, and their decks are like 3,000 quid. And do you know what I mean? It's like, this Commander. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so our version of modding is basically, before anybody puts anything on the table, it's like, what are we doing here? Okay, we're playing with budget decks of a certain such strength. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna throw too many stones, Limburger. For me, the competitive thing was collectible card games. I used to go to card game tournaments all the time in Coventry. I've played bloody hell, Warhammer, the original Warhammer 40k card game. I played competitively. UFS, I used to go to Solihull near Birmingham to play that. I played Warcry, so I've done competitive. if it's your bag and if you love it, fair play to you. Do you know what? But I probably don't. I'm not going to be sitting down to enjoy a game with you with that approach anytime soon. I am done with, I am done with basically butting heads against somebody to crack the toughest puzzle. I'm done with that. I don't have the time, the energy, or the cash for that anymore. And I'm sure it's exactly the same in miniature wargaming as it was in card gaming at the time. You've got to do so much preparation and so much research and buy the right cards and play your deck and know it and know what your opponent's going to be, know what deck types you're going to be expecting to see and how to take them apart and blah, blah, blah. And, some people love it. I don't. So, good luck to you. But yeah, modding, for me, there's an element of it's like the lifeblood, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
Modding your tabletop gaming experience in any way, even if it's just, and again, that counts. Talking with your friends. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we do this crazy scenario? Let's do this crazy scenario where you just have Tyrannid, but you get 10 Gaunt models a turn, and we'll just keep playing till I'm all dead. Yeah? That's modding. Yeah. And it can really give you some beautiful gaming experiences. Push your flair for creativity. Into something other than the models. Because we can express ourselves by painting and, assembling our models and converting and doing that. But you can also express yourself in the play, can't you, mate?
Yes, or, again, like, building an unconventional army, and I'm putting massive bunny ears around that because there's only pretty much one game that I can think of the way you build an unconventional army. Speaking of which, slightly diverting off topic here just before the end of stream, did you see the new scenario set or battalions that they've released today for 40k?
I did not see that they'd released new battalions for 40k.
Yeah.
I saw that Luke was spamming in the Discord about this.
Yeah.
Because this is the new series of books. I'm assuming these are leaks from the new books. They got a trilogy of books coming, haven't they? Is it 3 or 4 of them?
Not entirely sure.
Because it's the Presage to 10th, isn't it? So, like, at the end of each edition, they've now got this tradition where they release 4 books. And they're like campaign books that form a story arc.
Yeah.
And the story arc moves the world on. So, like, it happened with the Fall of Cadia, didn't it? There was, like, the books, they all told a little story and dragged these big characters in, and then the Fall of Cadia was the last one, and then it was, bang, new edition. And this is what it's to do with. But no, I haven't looked into it too deeply, mate. Did you have thoughts on it?
Arcs of Omen, restrictions, all unit must be of the same faction, and the faction cannot be Imperium, Chaos, Eldari, or Tyrannides. This detachment cannot include any under-strength units. Command benefits are none. Command cost is 0 HCP. You need 1 HQ, but if it's Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights, it doesn't matter. You can have 3 troops, or 3 elites, or 3 a fast attack, or 3 heavy support, or 3 Lords of War. And then what it links with. And it's just like, okay, so you've thrown out all the list building and battalion options just because we're coming up to the end of the edition.
Yeah, but that's because it's like, it's exactly what they did for fucking End Times in Fantasy, wasn't it? Where they basically said, okay, well, we'll, instead of being able to take a maximum of 25% Lords, you can now take half of your army can be Lords models. So you can just take all the stupid bid characters, and every wizard on the table now gets automatic access to the death list as well, because where you know it's all coming to an end, so just fucking go. And it's a way of them saying, you know, here you go play your epic games. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I must confess, it's not got me particularly incensed, but it doesn't have me particularly excited either, because
No.
it's like, I mean, I get it. There are people who play 40k once or twice a week, and they play ordinary 40k all the time. I mean, and to be fair, do you know what? It resonates with when I was 16, 17, and me and my mate Chris, you know, I was still at school. Me and my mate Chris, I'd go around his house. We'd pretty much 3 or 4 nights a week, we'd play Space Hulk or D&D or 40k, and we were playing so much of it that when something like this came along, a new mission pack or a new way of playing, we'd be like, oh. Do you know what I mean? We'd be all over it. But the thing is now, I play so many games. I don't get to play them very often. I don't really care. I don't need another campaign supplement for 40k. I play so little. I'd just like to play and enjoy 40k as it is. Thanks. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of that, and I do want to put it out here now, in an open forum, if there is an on-tabletop campaign next year, like the Duragama one that happened earlier this year, I think we should just drop everything and just play that.
Well, I can tell you they're pretty much...
Because it'll only be 2-3 weeks, won't it?
I can pretty much tell you, I cannot imagine a scenario where there is not an Infinity Global campaign, because they do them so well, and they're so slick about doing them. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be up for that. Whatever Infinity Global campaign drops, we just do that. We should probably commit ourselves to probably playing a game of Infinity every month, just so that we get really sharp with it and know our lists backwards, so that when because obviously they'll drop a new mission pack for it, and if we know our lists, then we'll be able to do that so much more slickly.
Having time to play it once a month, dude.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. We'll have to make time, mate. Because the thing is, I mean, even if we play Infinity once a month, we might only get 4 or 5 games in before it drops.
Yeah.
Because we've got no idea whether it'll be summer or later in the year. Because this year it was what, early autumn? Because I was still in Butte, wasn't I?
Yeah, but didn't you come back from Butte tail end of August?
That's true. It must have been earlier in the year.
June, July, I think it was.
We probably haven't got that long. But yeah, I'd be all over that. But I mean, even that, you see, that's a form of modding, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's the company doing it. Company modding. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, we're coming up to time. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. We want to hear about all of your
custom games,
all of your ideas for how you customize your own gameplay experience. What else, mate? The other thing is, tell us about why we might be wrong and why it might not be a good idea. Why we should just play games without wanting to change everything.
You've just sparked me off here. So, me and Paul being the scientific people that we are, and wanting to change Underworlds, we have already said categorically, when we do the testing and the play testing for the changes that we're going to make for the home rules, we will change one thing, play 3 or 4 games to get a good sample size, before we even contemplate touching something else, rules-wise. If you are making changes, don't try and change everything all at once, because you may end up with a bad experience and an absolute train wreck of a game.
Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to dice rolls or key components of the game. My Frostgrave scenario, I made a custom monster. If the custom monster absolutely tore face and fucking hammered the shit out of everybody and everybody died in that game, it's like, okay, that's a bit broken. I need to walk away and tweak it, or just never play with it ever again. You know what I mean?
To be fair as well, people might get the wrong impression from your Frostgrave scenario, because you did literally you put in place global rules that affected core game mechanics like reducing range shooting, and applying a penalty.
Yeah.
You also changed the way that the treasures were laid out, which is a core deployment mechanic and a core scoring mechanic. You also added a custom monster. I mean, you pretty much fucking you put so many layers onto that, and in a way that's why it was so nice to hear that it was a success. But no, I think you're dead right, mate. As a word of caution, yes, you can modify things to that degree. It's like David and I could go in and we could say, okay, well, a lot of the old cards in the original Underworld warbands are underpowered, so how do
we tweak them and make
they
them
all
better?
They all score an extra victory point, and we're going to remove the crit mechanic, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. But if we change everything all at once, even if the game's better, we won't know whether it was just one thing. Although, having said that, David, we are making changes for the specific purpose of trying to improve something that for us has got bad.
Yeah.
You know, that is an edge case for modding. I think the amount of, it's like Limburger said earlier, the vast majority of people who mod games are so in love with it, they just want more of it, or they want to turn into something else. And that's a different thing.
On my statement of, if you are wanting to fix something, be scientific about it, do one thing at once.
Yeah.
Oh, I found out what it is that leaked everywhere. Liquid latex.
Oh my fucking god. That's why.
Where the fuck are you? You're going in the fucking bin.
That's why everything's hydrophobic. Is it that bloody liquid mask bollocks?
Yes.
Oh my fuck. And it's now all over those Assassin's Creed minis?
Yes.
Oh, mate.
Stripper and a bath of alcohol, here we come.
Hang on, oil-based paints?
Not a sadist. Don't own that, mate.
No, but hang on a minute. Bearing in mind how much difficulty you had getting that crap off, could we just buy some oils? Because they're board game pieces. Would it be quicker?
I don't really know.
Oh my god. Right, anybody who's got any really good ideas about how to get rid of Vallejo liquid mask when it's been poured over an entire fucking Chinese container full of minis, please leave the comment below. Otherwise, David may be seen swinging from a rafter next time we go live. Holy shit, mate. Is that what all that gunk is?
Yeah, it's what it smells like. And I've just noticed that the pack of Swan and Morton scalpel blades in the bottom has got it all balled up on it.
But where is the mask? The mask isn't in that container, is it?
No, but I put them in a container that went down the caravan with me shop when I did some painting that may have had liquid mask inside of it.
Fuck. Oh my god. What an absolute nightmare.
End me, please.
Okay, guys. Well, it's coming up for 10 o'clock and David's about finished. Just a quick look at. I don't know what progress you've made tonight, mate. I'll just show everybody my models on the old turntable. I got about half of the green put down. To be fair, this is going to be a fairly quick job. I think the last one only took me about 4 hours, and that included priming both him and his friend here. So I've probably got another couple of hours work.
Turn the audio off. Right, off you go. Go live with me.
And let's have a look at what David's managed to get done in 2 hours. Okay, see, now he's putting me to shame here, everybody, because I haven't even primed my version of these because I didn't need them. So,
I've got black contrast went down.
Yeah.
On 4 of them, and then this one had hydrophobic accident. We got all the blue painted on these guys, rebase coated.
And this is, you've gone brighter on this, haven't you?
Yes, brighter.
Okay, mate, yep.
We got some black down on the trousers of these.
Ooh, okay.
Again.
Fucking hell, I haven't even got all these models primed. These are all the advanced ones. You're doing hardcore mode. Oh my Christ! Is that one?
Hydrophobic.
It literally hasn't even touched it. Holy shit, mate! What are you gonna do?
We've started.
Hey, the crossbowmen! My God,
10 crossbowmen have had their quilts painted black.
How did I get sick of painting those fucking things? Oh my God! What's that? 10 down, 20 to go.
10 down quilts.
well, shall we? So we'll call that 2. So 2 down, 28 to go. 10 quilts equals 2 fully paid miniatures.
No, this is what I mean. This is the other reason why I've done like batches of 5 of these.
Yeah, sure.
Is so I can have variety on my table, so I don't go completely fucking insane.
No, I will totally give you that, mate. Because my approach, I can totally see why my approach to it was not for everybody. Just taking 30 of the same miniature and just saying, "You will be done, or I will be," and just absolutely fecking hammering it. That is one of the. I mean, again, to be fair though, I grew up with Warhammer Fantasy Battles, so it's sort of like I've been there many times before. It's not a battle I have fought more than once.
Oh, actually,
every time I go away from his camera, does he do this? Come on, back me up, people! Jesus!
Don't fucking start.
Right, we're back on.
Because the boys and girls at home have not seen these since they're done.
Holy shit! They are looking sweet now that they're finished.
So, other than...
They were 90% before, weren't they? You just done the basing.
Other than a coat of matte varnish, they are done.
They've been done for a while. It was just the basing. They look really good. Oh, damn, that reminds me. That's another thing we want to talk about. Right, we'll either talk about it after stream or we'll have to talk about it next week. But I wanted to ask your opinion on skin tone for vampires. Because I don't really know where to go with it. Okay. I did see a video by Eons of Battle where he went really off the wall and did the skin almost in a teal blue.
Fuck off.
And it actually doesn't look bad. But you reckon just be classic, go with flesh tone, sort of like dead flesh.
Well, again,
let me throw this in there.
This is that olive flesh with a lemon flesh contrast. No, that's called grunt affair.
Let me
lemon flesh contrast wash.
Let me just
using the same principle. Surely, olive skin plus some form of weird and wacky blue, purple contrast paint or army paint or speed paint plus more olive flesh done.
Let me just sound you out, right? The idea I had was go for the darkest red I had, which is burnt red, as the base.
Have you not got hull red?
The darkest red I have is burnt red. 34.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Because on screen now, you will see alternatives. Bollocks.
I haven't got whole red or black red. Huh. Right, well, the darkest I've got is burnt red.
Would you like to borrow a bottle?
Well, listen, and then I was going to go with your favourite colour as the mid-tone.
Deck tan.
Deck tan. And then use a wash. Probably a flesh wash.
Stupid idea.
Yeah.
Because I know you have got this colour. What about burnt red and burnt umber?
Right.
And you'll get somewhere close to black red.
Yeah, but it's what I was going to go for was the absolute. Lindberger's doing the Columbo gag. Just one more thing. But what I was thinking was, right, really in the recesses you'll get like a deep red, almost blood red.
Yeah.
But then I was going to build up to highlights that are almost grey. But
what, with that silver grey, white grey?
Yeah, silver grey, but deck tan. Do you know what I mean? Because deck tan's sort of a beigey grey, isn't it?
Yes. Now, while we're on the picking people's brains...
But do you think that I'm onto something, or am I completely mad?
I think you're completely fucking mad.
What do you think, Limburger? Am I on something, or am I completely mad?
I think you should use a red contrast. So I think what you should do is skin tones.
Yeah.
Or white tones.
Yeah.
Red contrast thinned, maybe 1 or 2 layers to wash it. Then go back over, re-establish, then highlight. Rather than going with black red purely in the recesses. Because there's not a lot of detail on the faces of those minis.
Yeah, but a lot of the brides of Dracula are like semi-naked, so there's a lot of skin. But the thing is, what I'm concerned about is if I do it your way, it'll end up looking too alive, because it'll look too red. Because ultimately, I want it to look dead.
Purple, then.
Yeah, but purple has got its own look.
Blue? Anyway.
Go on, yeah.
Opinions on screen.
Oh, actually, good job. I got on something else to. There's just one more thing.
Just one more thing. Goliaths for Necromunda.
Yes.
How do we feel about them in Turbo Dork fucking neon green absinthe?
I mean, it's Necromunda. Go fucking mad. I mean, classically, they're aren't they normally painted a bit corny, a bit sort of red? Yeah. I mean, I say go for it, mate. I tell you what. Do you know who's digging? I tell you, are you sure you don't watch the painting phase?
Why?
Well, because you know that video I showed earlier of Peachy. Yeah. As well as Henry Cavill, the other thing that they discussed is that they're going to do a Necromunda campaign. And Peachy was handing out his collection of Necromunda models that is taller than him, and he's never going to get around to painting, to the other people who work on the team. And they're going to do them all in Turbo Dork. So that's a bit weird that you've just put a Necromunda model and a Turbo Dork paint on screen. It's like... are you in Peachy's head, or what?
Because the only other alternative I have is like Vallejo shifters colour shifts.
Mate, if you want to go exotic metallic on them, go for exotic metallic on them. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not a great one for following stock colour schemes on things. Skirmish games, particularly. If I've only got to paint half a dozen miniatures, I'm going to do what the fuck I want. I mean, if I'm painting a Space Marine army and it's Raven Guard, I'll probably go, I'm going to stick to the formula, because it is what it is. It
is what it is.
But I mean, again, my Forge Fathers. It's just just fucking do what you want to do. If you want to do some off the wall scheme hinged around metallic green with accents, I mean, to be fair, if they've got a lot of leather work, that metallic green and then like a classic dark brown, it'll look fucking tastic with just the flesh tones to balance it. It'll look amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know where you'd go with your metallics. I mean, steels look pretty good with green. But you could go exotic, go bronzes, go in the brown spectrum.
Copper,
yeah, the problem is that might look a bit Father Christmas. I mean, it's good, it's on theme. Red and green.
It's orange. It's orange. Copper is orange, not fucking red.
Yeah, weird colours can be cool, Limburger. I mean, again, to be fair, this is why I just I thought, do you know what? I could just do something completely bizarre for the skin. Because, like I say, sometimes you just want to you just take all your theory and all you think, just throw it out the window, pick something and just say, let's just put it together and see what happens.
Question, should Dracula's brides appear dead or should they appear human? Because they've just been bitten.
That's a fair point, actually, isn't it? Although I think the idea is that the brides of Dracula are actually full-on vampires. They're not like the women where he's like literally just hypnotized them and brought them into the fold. I think they are literally fully turned, dead vampires in their own right. It's just obviously they're thralls. I think that's the idea. But anyway, sorry, we've prattled on for far too long. It's time to
overran.
as tick the box, Limburger. Overrun. Right, guys. For everybody who catches us later on YouTube, if you can find time to do anything, please like the show. That one little thing feeds the YouTube algorithm and helps to increase the number of impressions that we get as we're put in front of other people.
Every little helps.
If you want to do any of the other things, feel free to share, comment and subscribe. I mean, the subscribers thing only really matters if we want to monetize, and obviously we're a long way from that being important.
And or you want notifying that our pretty faces are live.
But to be fair, you can get that just as well by following us on either Instagram or Facebook, because we were in a good routine now. We'll always announce when we're going live. The only thing that it might be more important with is in the new year, David and I may be putting up all the video content. So if you want to be alerted when that goes up, then you will need to subscribe. But we'll see what happens in January. So from David and myself, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. For those of you who we don't see. We have got a show scheduled for next week. It's something a little bit special.
It's a festive special.
So we will hopefully be here at the regular allotted time of 8 o'clock, although the show may be shorter than usual. But yes, we will be here. So with that being said, thank you very much to Limburger for being in the chat tonight. And for those of you who couldn't be here, thank you for catching up with us later on YouTube. And we will see you later.
Taddy bye.